The Arcturus limped through the darkness of space, its quantum drives failing and life support systems barely functional. High Commander Valen Kidder stood on the bridge of what had once been the pride of the Arxian fleet, watching as yet another critical system alert flashed across the holographic display. Their encounter with the quantum storm had done more damage than anyone could have anticipated, and now they were deep in uncharted space with no hope of rescue. Status report. Valen commanded, her crystalline voice steady despite the dire situation. Primary systems at 12% capacity and falling. Commander. First Officer Nexus responded, his tentacles writhing with anxiety. We've lost contact with Engineering Deck 3, and the quantum core is showing signs of imminent collapse. Valen's iridescent scales shifted from their usual royal blue to a pale gray, a sign of deep concern among her species. The Arcturus wasn't just any ship. It carried experimental technology that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Letting it fall into the wrong hands wasn't an option. A new alert caught her attention. Unknown planetary system detected, announced the ship's eye. Scanning. Class M planet with developing civilization. Technological level. Early spacefaring. Valen's first instinct was to continue past this backwater system, but another violent shudder through the ship's hull made the decision for her. Plot a course. We need repairs, and even primitive facilities are better than none. As they approached the third planet in the system, Valen studied the information streaming across her screens. The dominant species called themselves humans, and they had barely reached their own moon. Their technology was laughably primitive by Arxian standards. Chemical rockets, silicon-based computing, and no quantum technology whatsoever. Commander, Nexus interrupted her thoughts. We're being hailed by something called the International Space Station. Open communications, Valen ordered, straightening her posture. First contact wasn't how she had planned to end her day. The screen flickered to life, showing a human female in what looked like a primitive pressure suit. Unknown vessel, this is Commander Sarah Chen of the International Space Station. We've detected your approach and unusual energy signatures. Do you require assistance? Valen almost laughed at the offer. What could these primitives possibly do to help? But another system failure alarm changed her mind. This is High Commander Valen Kidder of the Arxian vessel Arcturus. We have sustained critical damage and require emergency repairs. The human showed no sign of fear or awe at facing an alien species for the first time. Instead, she was already typing on a nearby console. We're reading massive power fluctuations from your vessel. If you can hold position, we're contacting our ground teams now. We have engineers standing by at several space agencies who might be able to help. Your offer is appreciated but unnecessary. Valen replied diplomatically. We simply require a safe orbit to conduct our own repairs. Commander Chen's expression hardened slightly. With all due respect, Commander Kidder, our readings suggest your ship's power cord is approaching critical failure. Whatever you're using for propulsion is putting out radiation patterns unlike anything we've seen. Let us help before this becomes a disaster that affects both our species. Before Valen could respond, a massive power surge ripped through the ship. The quantum core's containment field flickered, and emergency sirens blared across every deck. Quantum containment failing. Nexus shouted. Core breach imminent. Valen's scales paled further. A quantum core breach this close to an inhabited planet would be catastrophic. She swallowed her pride. Commander Chen, we accept your assistance. Our primary power source is becoming unstable. The human was already mobilizing. Patching you through to Dr. Elena Rodriguez at NASA's Advanced Propulsion Lab. She's leading our emergency response team. And Commander, welcome to Earth. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity that challenged everything Valen thought she knew about technological advancement. The humans, despite their primitive technology, approached the quantum core problem with remarkable creativity. While Arxian engineers would have insisted on proper quantum alignment tools and certified containment fields, the humans suggested a series of surprisingly effective workarounds using their own technology. Dr. Rodriguez, coordinating from the ground, proved particularly insightful. Your quantum field is essentially a highly advanced form of plasma containment, she explained over the comlink. We might not have quantum technology, but we've been working with plasma containment for decades. If we modify some of our magnetic containment protocols. Valen watched in amazement as human engineers, transported up by their chemical rockets, worked alongside her crew. They jury-rigged solutions that should never have worked but somehow did, combining Arxian quantum technology with human ingenuity in ways that defied conventional wisdom. It's not pretty, Dr. Rodriguez admitted as they finished stabilizing the core, but it should hold. We've essentially created a hybrid containment system that uses our magnetic field technology as a backup for your quantum fields. It's less efficient, but far more stable. Valen studied the readings. The humans' modifications had indeed stabilized the core, though in a way that would horrify any proper Arxian engineer. They had essentially forced quantum technology to work alongside primitive electromagnetic systems, creating something entirely new in the process. How did you even conceive of this solution? Valen asked Dr. Rodriguez. The human smiled through the video link. Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking outside the box. When you don't know something's supposed to be impossible, you're free to try anything. As Valen looked around her bridge, now cluttered with a strange mix of advanced Arxian technology and improvised human modifications, she realized she had severely underestimated this species. They might lack quantum technology and advanced materials, but their ability to innovate and adapt was unlike anything she had encountered in her centuries of space exploration. Perhaps, she said carefully, we have much to learn from each other. Commander Chen's voice came through the comm. We'd be honored to exchange knowledge, Commander Couture. Though I suggest we start with getting the rest of your ship's systems stabilized. Our engineers are already coming up with some interesting ideas for your secondary power grid. Valen's scales shifted to a deep purple, a sign of profound realization among her people. She had come to Earth expecting to find primitives. Instead, she had discovered a species whose greatest strength lay not in their technology, but in their boundless creativity and determination to overcome any challenge. The Arcteros would never be the same, and perhaps that was for the best. 2 weeks after the emergency repairs, the Arcteros had become an unprecedented fusion of technologies. The ship's maintenance bay buzzed with activity as human engineers worked alongside Arxian technicians, their different approaches to problem-solving creating solutions neither species would have conceived alone. You want to do what to my quantum sensors? Chief Engineer Kilax demanded, his bioluminescent spots flashing with alarm as he reviewed Dr. Rodriguez's latest proposal. Elena Rodriguez spread out a holographic diagram, modified by her team, to show their planned improvements. Look, your quantum scanning array is incredibly sophisticated, but it's also incredibly fragile. One slight misalignment, and you lose half your sensor coverage. We want to install a backup system using modified radio telescopes. Radio waves. Kilax's spots turned a deep indigo of disbelief. That's ancient technology. Sometimes ancient works, Elena replied, pulling up data from their previous modifications. Remember how we stabilize your quantum core? Same principle. Your advanced tech gives us incredible capabilities, but our primitive systems provide redundancy and resilience. From her observation post, Commander Valen watched the exchange with growing interest. The past 2 weeks had challenged everything she thought she knew about technological progress. The humans approached problems differently. Where Arxians sought perfection through advancement, humans embraced imperfection and found ways to make it work. Commander, Sarah Chen's voice came through the comm. The human commander had become a regular presence, coordinating between Earth's various space agencies and the Arcteros. You might want to come to the primary engine room. Dr. Patel has an interesting proposal about your FTL drive. In the engine room, Dr. Raj Patel stood before a complex holographic display showing the ship's faster-than-light propulsion system. His excitement was palpable as Valen entered. Commander Couture, "We've been studying your quantum slip drive," he began, manipulating the hologram. "It's brilliant technology, but we think we can improve its stability by about 300%. "Impossible," Valen stated flatly. "The slip drive was designed by our best minds. It's already operating at peak theoretical efficiency." "According to quantum physics, yes," Raj agreed. "But we're not talking about quantum modifications. We want to add what we call inertial dampeners, basically sophisticated shock absorbers that we use in our space stations. Your slip drive creates quantum tunnels through spacetime, but the transition points create massive gravitational stress on the ship's structure." Valen's scales shifted thoughtfully. The humans had noticed something her own engineers had always accepted as an unavoidable side effect of FTL travel. And these shock absorbers would help. "Combined with some modifications to your structural integrity field." "We think so. The math suggests we could significantly reduce the strain on the ship during FTL transitions. It won't make you go faster, but it'll make the journey smoother and reduce wear on the quantum systems." Over the next few days, Valen watched as more hybrid modifications transformed her ship. The humans had an uncanny ability to spot inefficiencies that Arxian engineers had long accepted as inevitable, finding solutions in unexpected places. They replaced delicate quantum computer interfaces with rugged analog backup systems. The ship's life support got an overhaul with technology borrowed from closed-system ecology experiments. Even the waste recycling system received an upgrade based on principles developed for Earth's space stations. "It's not about replacing your advanced technology," Elena explained during one of their daily briefings. "It's about creating layers of redundancy. If the quantum systems fail, you have backup options that might be less efficient but will keep you alive." The transformation wasn't without its challenges. Cultural clashes erupted regularly between the methodical, precision-focused Arxian engineers and their more improvisational human counterparts. More than once, Valen had to mediate disputes over what constituted an acceptable solution to a technical problem. "But it's held together with adhesive tape," Kylax protested during one particularly heated exchange. "High-temperature polymer-based adhesive rated for vacuum conditions," Raj corrected. "And it's not holding it together. It's providing flexible support to prevent microfractures in your crystalline power conduits. Sometimes the simple solution is the best solution." The turning point came during a test of the modified slip drive. As the Arcturus accelerated to FTL speeds, the usual violent transition smoothed into something almost gentle. Power efficiency increased by 27%, and the quantum core's stability improved dramatically. "How?" Kylax asked, staring at the readings in disbelief. "We've been trying to solve the transition problem for decades." "Sometimes you need fresh eyes," Elena said. "You were so focused on quantum mechanics that you overlooked basic physics. The greatest breakthroughs often come from combining different perspectives." Standing on her bridge, Valen realized the Arcturus had become something more than just a repaired vessel. It was evolving into a testament to what could be achieved when different species work together, combining the best of their knowledge and approaches. "Dr. Rodriguez," she called out, having made a decision. "I believe it's time we discussed upgrading our defensive systems as well. I'm curious to hear what unconventional solutions your team might propose." Elena's eyes lit up with excitement. "Actually, Commander, we've been studying your shield generators, and we have some ideas involving metamaterials and electromagnetic field manipulation that might interest you." The Arcturus was changing, becoming something neither human nor Arxian, but something new, a bridge between two approaches to understanding the universe. And this was only the beginning. The attack came without warning. 3 warships dropped out of quantum space, their weapons already charged and targeting systems locked onto the Arcturus. Valen recognized their configuration immediately. Drachnid raiders, notorious for preying on damaged or vulnerable vessels. "Commander," Elena called from her newly installed tactical station, "they're broadcasting a demand for surrender." Valen's scales rippled with anticipation. The raiders had no idea what they were dealing with. "Put them through." A Drachnid captain appeared on the main screen, his cybernetic eye glowing menacingly. Arxian vessel, our scans show extensive modifications and power fluctuations. Surrender now, and we'll ensure your crew's survival. Your scans are correct, Valen replied smoothly. We have indeed been modified. Perhaps you'd like a demonstration. Before the raider could respond, Valen nodded to Alina. Show them what we've done with the shields. Alina's fingers danced across her hybrid control panel, a mixture of holographic interfaces and physical controls. Activating metamaterial defense grid, spinning up the electromagnetic field generators. The lead raider ship fired, its quantum-tipped missiles streaking toward the Arcturus. They struck what appeared to be empty space several kilometers from the hull, detonating in spectacular but harmless explosions. Shields holding at 99.8% efficiency, reported Kylax, his spots pulsing with barely contained excitement. The human modifications are working perfectly. Their multi-layered approach is actually strengthening our quantum barriers. The Drachnid captain's organic eye widened. Impossible. Our weapons are calibrated specifically to penetrate Arxian shields. As I said, Valen replied, we've made some modifications. Alina, shall we demonstrate our offensive capabilities as well? With pleasure, Commander. Alina activated their newly modified weapons system. Hybrid targeting matrix online. Quantum electromagnetic pulse generators charged. The Arcturus' main weapon array had been completely reimagined by the human engineers. They had combined the raw power of Arxian quantum weapons with Earth-based electromagnetic principles, creating something entirely new. Target their propulsion systems, Valen ordered. Let's show them what happens when you combine human ingenuity with Arxian technology. A brilliant beam of energy erupted from the Arcturus, its color unlike anything typically seen in space combat. The lead raider's shields, designed to handle pure quantum attacks, might as well have been tissue paper. The beam passed through them as if they weren't there, precisely striking the ship's engine section. Direct hit, Alina announced. Their quantum drive is offline, and our electromagnetic pulse has disabled their secondary systems. They're dead in space. The remaining raiders began to turn, attempting to retreat. But the Arcturus' hybrid sensors, combining quantum scanning with traditional radar and lidar, tracked their every move with perfect precision. Should we disable the others? Alina asked, her hand hovering over the weapon's control. Valen addressed the Drachnid captain, whose image still flickered on their screen. You have two choices. Surrender now, or we can continue this demonstration of our capabilities. The raiders surrendered. As Valen's crew secured the hostile vessels, she noticed the looks of amazement on both human and Arxian faces. The hybrid modifications hadn't just worked, they had exceeded all expectations. I don't understand, the Drachnid captain said later after being brought aboard. Our intelligence indicated this ship was damaged, running on improvised repairs. How did you achieve this level of combat effectiveness? Valen gestured to Alina and the other humans working alongside her Arxian crew. We learned that true advancement doesn't always mean moving forward with ever more complex technology. Sometimes it means looking at old problems from new angles, combining different approaches to create something greater than the sum of its parts. In the aftermath of the battle, Valen called a meeting of both her Arxian officers and the human engineering team. The ship's conference room, now featuring both quantum holographic displays and traditional screens, filled with excited chatter. Today proved something important, Valen announced. We've created more than just a functional hybrid of our technologies. We've discovered a new way of approaching space travel and combat. The raiders' failure wasn't just due to superior firepower. It was because they couldn't comprehend what we built here. Alina nodded. They were expecting either advanced Arxian technology or primitive human systems. Instead, they got something that transcended both. Their tactical computers couldn't even properly analyze our defense systems because they'd never encountered anything like them. Which raises an interesting question, Kylax added, his spots now a thoughtful shade of blue. If we can achieve this much with just emergency modifications, what could we create if we purposefully combined our technologies from the ground up? The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Arcturus wasn't just a repaired vessel anymore. It was a prototype for an entirely new class of ships, one that combined the best aspects of both civilizations. "I think," Valen said, her scales shifting to the deep purple of revelation, "it's time we reported back to both our governments. What we've created here could change the balance of power throughout known space." As she looked around the conference room at her mixed crew, Valen realized that the true achievement wasn't just the technological innovations. It was the bridge they'd built between two very different approaches to understanding and manipulating the universe. The Arcturus had become living proof that diversity of thought and method could create something far more powerful than technological advancement alone. News of the Arcturus' victory over the Drachnid raiders spread quickly through both human and Arxian space. What had begun as an emergency repair operation had evolved into something that would reshape interstellar relations forever. The Arxian High Council dispatched a delegation to Earth, while the United Earth Space Council prepared for their first official diplomatic contact with an advanced civilization. But aboard the Arcturus, the real revolution continued to unfold. The quantum slip drive efficiency has increased another 15%, Elena reported during the daily engineering briefing. She stood confidently beside the holographic display, no longer intimidated by the advanced technology surrounding her. The human inertial dampeners are actually allowing the quantum fields to form more stable corridors through spacetime. Valen studied the data with interest. And the power consumption. "That's the beautiful part," Kylax interjected, his spots glowing with enthusiasm. "By integrating the human's thermal management systems with our quantum core, we're recycling energy that we used to consider waste." The ship is now operating at 143% of its original designed capacity. The Arcturus had become a testing ground for unprecedented technological cooperation. Human engineers worked side by side with Arxian scientists, each learning from the other's perspective. What the humans lacked in advanced technology, they made up for with creative problem-solving and a deep understanding of fundamental principles. "Commander," First Officer Nexus called from his station, "we're receiving a priority transmission from both Earth Command and the High Council. They're requesting a joint demonstration of our hybrid systems." Valen's scales shifted to a thoughtful shade of blue. "It seems our little experiment has caught the attention of both our governments. Set a course for the neutral testing grounds in the Proxima system." The journey to Proxima showcased just how far the Arcturus had come. The ship moved through quantum space with unprecedented stability, its hybrid systems working in perfect harmony. The human crew members no longer seemed out of place among the advanced technology. They had made it their own, adding their unique touch to every system. During the trip, Velen observed how the crew dynamics had evolved. Humans and Arxians now worked together seamlessly, each bringing their own strengths to every challenge. The rigid hierarchy of Arxian military tradition had melded with the more flexible, innovative human approach. "You know what I've realized?" Elena said one evening as she and Velen watched the quantum space distortions from the observation deck. "We've done more than just combine technologies. We've created a new way of thinking about space exploration." Valen's scales rippled in agreement. "The Arxian way has always been to seek perfection through advancement. We believe that newer always meant better. But your species has shown us that sometimes the most elegant solutions come from understanding basic principles. And you've shown us that we shouldn't be afraid to reach for the stars," Elena replied. "Literally, in this case. Your quantum technology is incredible. We just helped make it more robust." The demonstration at Proxima exceeded all expectations. Military observers from both species watched in amazement as the Arcturus performed maneuvers that should have been impossible, its hybrid systems allowing it to operate beyond the theoretical limits of either human or Arxian technology alone. The ship's defensive capabilities proved particularly impressive. When tested against both conventional and quantum weapons, the multi-layered shield system showed unprecedented resilience. The weapons systems, combining quantum principles with electromagnetic manipulation, demonstrated precision and power that left the observers speechless. But it was the smaller innovations that truly showcased the potential of human-Archean cooperation. The life support systems now operated with redundancies that made them nearly fail-safe. The sensor arrays combined quantum scanning with traditional methods, creating a detection system that could track everything from subatomic particles to large-scale spatial anomalies. After the demonstrations, Valen addressed the gathered officials from both species. What you've seen today isn't just a modified ship. It's proof that our species can achieve more together than either could alone. The Arcteros represents a new path forward, one where we combine the best of both our civilizations. The impact was immediate. The Archean High Council, traditionally conservative in its approach to technological development, began establishing joint research programs with Earth's scientific institutions. Human engineers were invited to study at Archean academies, while Archean scientists came to Earth to learn about human innovation and adaptability. We're receiving requests from ships across both fleets, Nexus reported one morning. Everyone wants to know how to implement our hybrid systems. Tell them it's not just about the technology, Valen replied. It's about learning to see problems from multiple perspectives. The real breakthrough wasn't in the engineering. It was in learning to work together. Elena nodded. We're getting similar requests from Earth. Every space agency wants to know our secrets, but you can't just copy what we've done here. Each ship, each crew, will need to find their own way to combine our different approaches. The Arcteros had become more than a ship. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when different species set aside their preconceptions and worked together. As Velen watched her mixed crew going about their duties, she realized they had created something that would ripple through the galaxy for generations to come. Perhaps, she mused, watching a human engineer teaching an Archean cadet about old-fashioned mechanical backup systems. This is how truly advanced civilizations are born, not through competition, but through cooperation and understanding. 2 years after the Arcturus' emergency landing on Earth, the ship hovered above a newly constructed orbital facility, the first joint human-Archean space academy. The massive structure represented everything the hybrid vessel had inspired, a place where both species could learn from each other and build a better future together. Velen stood on her bridge, her scales shimmering with pride as she watched the latest group of cadets approaching in shuttlecraft. The Arcteros had become a training vessel, teaching new generations of both species the art of hybrid space engineering. Hard to believe it all started with a failing quantum core, Elena remarked, now serving as the Academy's chief engineering instructor. She had refused multiple promotions, preferring to stay where she could directly shape the future of human-Archean cooperation. Looking at the sensor readings from that day, Kylax added, his spots pulsing with amusement, we should have been space debris. Instead, we created something revolutionary. The revolution had spread far beyond the Arcturus. Across both human and Archean space, ships were being retrofitted with hybrid systems. Each vessel found its own unique balance between advanced quantum technology and robust human engineering principles. Some focused on enhanced defensive capabilities, others on improved exploration systems, but all benefited from the combined wisdom of both species. Commander, Nexus called out, the first group of cadets has docked. They're requesting permission to board. Granted, Valen ordered. Elena, would you like to give them the welcome speech this time? Actually, Elena smiled, I thought we could do it together. Show them what real cooperation looks like from the start. As the cadets filed onto the bridge, humans and Archeans together, already comfortable in each other's presence, Valen felt a deep sense of satisfaction. These young officers would never know the old prejudices and assumptions that had once separated their species. Welcome aboard the Arcturus, Valen began, watching their eager faces. This ship represents more than just a technological achievement. It stands as proof that the best solutions often come from unexpected places. Elena stepped forward. 2 years ago, This vessel was considered one of the most advanced ships in the Archean fleet. Then it nearly died in space. Its salvation came not from even more advanced technology, but from learning to see problems differently. Look around you, Valen continued. Every system on this ship tells a story of cooperation. The quantum core now works in harmony with human electromagnetic principles. The navigation systems combine Archean spatial calculations with Earth-based astronomical data. Even the ship's hull has been reinforced using a combination of our technologies. A young human cadet raised her hand. But isn't it less efficient than pure quantum technology? Efficiency isn't everything, Kylax answered, his spots glowing with the passion of a dedicated teacher. Pure quantum systems are theoretically perfect, yes, but they're also fragile, complex, and unforgiving. What we've created here is something more important: resilience. The greatest lesson of the Arcteros, Alina added, is that progress doesn't always mean moving forward. Sometimes it means looking sideways, combining different approaches to create something entirely new. The impact of their work had extended far beyond military and scientific applications. The success of human-Archean cooperation had opened doors throughout the galaxy. Other species, seeing what could be achieved through genuine collaboration, began reaching out to both Earth and the Archean Empire. Trade routes expanded. Cultural exchanges flourished. The galaxy was changing, becoming more interconnected, more cooperative. And at the heart of it all was the principle first demonstrated aboard the Arcteros, that diversity of thought and approach was a strength, not a weakness. Your training year will be challenging, Valen told the cadets. We'll push you to think beyond your species' traditional approaches. Humans will learn quantum mechanics. Archeans will study mechanical engineering. All of you will learn to see problems from multiple perspectives. Because the future, Alina finished, belongs to those who can bridge different ways of thinking. The next great breakthroughs won't come from isolation, but from cooperation. Later, after the cadets had been assigned their quarters, Valen stood in the observation deck with Alina, watching Earth rotate slowly below them. The planet's night side glittered with lights, while several new orbital stations showed the growing partnership between their species. Did you ever imagine, Alina asked, when you were limping toward Earth that day, that it would lead to all this? Valen's scales shifted to a reflective shade of blue. Never. I thought we were seeking emergency repairs from primitives. Instead, we found partners who would help us redefine what's possible. The old barriers are falling, Alina noted. Did you hear? The Archean Science Academy is starting to include human engineering principles in their standard curriculum. And Earth universities are offering courses in quantum mechanics taught by Archean professors. A flash of light caught their attention. Another hybrid vessel emerging from quantum space, its human Archean crew working together as naturally as breathing. The ship's design incorporated elements from both species, yet created something distinctly new. That's our real legacy, Valen said softly. Not just the technology, but the proof that different species, different ways of thinking, can come together to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The Arcteros had started as a damaged vessel seeking emergency repairs. It had become a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of cooperation, and a blueprint for the future. As Velen watched the next generation of human and Archean officers learning together aboard her ship, she knew that this was just the beginning. The stars stretched out before them, infinite in their possibility, waiting to be explored by species working together, learning from each other, growing stronger through their differences. The Arcteros had shown the way. The future would be built on its example.